What's up, everybody? I'm John, and thank you for joining me here on the Overdrive Guitar channel. Today is going to be kind of a twofold video. First off, it's going to be my kind of quick-ish first impressions of the new Amplitube 5 software, Amplitube 5 free. And also, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a channel update because some people might have noticed there's a little bit of a hiatus in the channel. So I'm just going to let you guys know, what's coming up. So let's get right to it. In the intro, you heard a couple of sounds from the new Amplitube 5 software. All of the sounds in this video are going to be from the Amplitube 5 software. Before I start giving you my review, there's just a couple of things to keep in mind. The first one is just like when you're watching any review, I'm just a person. This is just my opinion. If this is a product that interests you, then probably don't just take my word for it. Get your hands on it yourself. Try it out and see how it gets on with you. The second thing to keep in mind is that I am reviewing the things that you get for free, the free version of Amplitube 5. If they improve other aspects that you don't get for free, then obviously I'm not going to know about it. The last thing to keep in mind is that I am fairly new to the whole amp sim thing, and while I am pretty knowledgeable in guitar things, gear things, tech things, something to keep in mind, I'm fairly new to the amp sim thing. While we're here, please just give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe. The very best way to support this channel is to just subscribe, click the bell so you'll be notified when you get my videos. I am back on track now, so if you click that bell, you're gonna know when I release things like live streams, guitar lessons, music theory discussions, gear reviews. If you don't want to miss any of that and/or you want to support the channel, please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. If there's something you want to see, please feel free to put it in the comments. If there's something you think maybe I got wrong, I need to fix, put it in the comments. Anything you want to say, put it in the comments. I want to hear from you. Alright, let's get on with this. Before I give you my kind of personal thoughts, I'll let you know what I noticed that is new in the new Amplitube. First off, there was a few guitar amplifiers that are new. There's one called the Metal 50, and these don't come with the free pack, but it's just, I looked into this a little bit because I am doing a video about it, so I felt it was only fair to do a little bit of due diligence, all that. So the Metal 50 is a copy of the PRS Archon 50, killer amp in real life. Don't know how the plug-in is because it doesn't come free. They also have the German 34 amp. The German 34 is apparently a copy of a particular model of a Bogner Ecstasy that uses EL34s. I'm not personally familiar with that amp. It's clearly more of a high gain thing because it's a Bogner, and I'm not really a high gain guy, but it's a new feature. We have the V Handcraft 4 is another new amp that comes, and it's a copy of the Diesel VH4. Same deal as the last amp. It doesn't come free, and also it's a super high gain type of thing, not really my bag. I'm going to talk about which amps do come free, but if you have Amplitube 4, you basically get the same things free. Okay, we also have in the new Amplitube a Multiplex 20, which is a copy of one of my favorite real-world guitar amplifiers ever, the Friedman Pink Taco. And there's also something called the New York B750, which is a bass amp. I don't know a lot about bass gear, but apparently it's a copy of some type of famous Aguilar bass amp with a similar model name. Also new in the new Amplitube 5, there's like a Distortion Plus copy that has a few diode choices. And also there's a copy of the original Sans amp, which is basically a bass DI pedal, like a bass amplifier replacement pedal. Now, I'm not really sure why in the world you would put that in a DAW. Well, it's a product to replace a DI. I don't know. If anybody knows why that would be useful in a DAW, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm interested to hear. I don't know much about the long guitars anyways. So that's basically what comes new as far as equipment. So let me just lay out my opinion. First of all, my opinion on what comes free. I understand that they don't want to give much stuff away. So what you get free is sparse, but basically you get 4 amps. You get 2 types of Marshalls, 2 types of Fenders, and then you get a bass amp. I just think they could do that a little different. You can kind of get the similar sounds out of both of the Marshalls and both of the Fenders, giving us maybe a Vox and something else would have been a nice touch, something like that. Just my opinions. But getting to what actually matters, right? Interacting with the product and what really, really matters, how it sounds. At first, I'm going to tell you, at first, when I turned this app on, I really, really thought they only updated the UI. It really, really seemed like that. The problem was I was listening to it through kind of external speakers that are not quality. So after about 30 minutes or so of fooling around and deciding to myself that it was pretty much the same thing with a different UI, I put my headphones on and I was going to go back to playing through THU, which is my preferred amp simulator. And as soon as I heard it through the headphones, I realized that they had, in fact, made some changes that were killer. The very first thing I noticed was things like the reverbs and delays are way more immersive, way more realistic sounding. A room sound sounds more like a room now. They just kind of took it that extra step, which I wasn't really expecting. I was expecting mostly just kind of little tweaks. I didn't expect kind of a sound quality difference. As far as the amp sounds, they seemed pretty much the same. And it was easy to compare because you basically get the same models free, right? With the Amplitube 5 and the free Amplitube 4, it's basically the same models. It just kind of looks different. And the amps themselves sound identical as far as I can tell. It's once you start putting reverbs, delays, other effects that I can hear a difference. And it's a marked difference. Basically, all of the other changes can kind of be encapsulated in one statement, and that's basically that they streamlined the UI. Things like the signal chain and getting to different parts of the signal chain, changing things like mic placement, stuff like that. They just kind of streamlined it, made it a little bit easier. That's great. It's not really the stuff that I'm worried about, but that's great. There was one other area that I noticed a marked improvement on, and that's the response. Dynamic response has always been the absolute weakest point, in my opinion, with the amp sims. Now, I know a lot of people aren't really using it like that. A lot of people are just recording their direct signal. They're not listening to an affected signal live, so it's not so much of a problem. But what I'm using it for, I'm actually using it as an amp, or when I'm recording, I actually listen live to the affected signal. So I'm listening to the amp sim live as I play. So I want it to react somewhat like a real guitar amp, right? I want some dynamics. I want there to be a difference in, when I dig in, things like that. I think most of us know the whole dynamics thing. Now, my style of playing is that edge of breakup kind of style and is the absolute hardest for anything any digital effects to really capture. Even solid state can be difficult, right? Where these amp sims really shine, this one and all others included, is super high gain sounds and a little less the super clean sound. I think most people know that that kind of chuggy, super high gain thing can be easily achieved with an amp sim, especially because you're using lots of noise gates and stuff like that that cut out a lot of those dynamics. Now, my style of playing is the kind of more expressive, bluesy, edge of breakup style of playing. Like I said, the hardest things for things like an amp sim to emulate. And I think this does a pretty good job. And with the kind of added dynamic response, it not only adds to that aspect, but I've noticed that it plays better with pedals. Now, it's kind of, these two things kind of go hand in hand, and I'm sure that this is a case of a company actually listening to its customers, right? This is something that we've kind of been seeing more and more lately. Companies can actually listen to their customers now because there's platforms like this one where people can give their honest and unfiltered opinions, and if enough of those opinions get back to them, changes are going to be made, right? So, would I recommend Amplitube 5 free? Of course, because it's free, right? This is kind of the question that most of my reviews come to is it worth it? And of course it is, because it's free. I'm going to play you a couple more sounds, but just to wrap the review up, they've improved things like dynamic response. What else did I say they improved? They've added some new amps. Definitely the delays and reverb sound better. I'm not sure if they changed the basic sounds of the amps, but definitely I noticed the reverb especially sounds much better, much more realistic. The last thing I'll say about this, and I was kind of debating whether I wanted to put this in this video or not, but I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm a small channel. Who cares? My favorite amp sim is THU. This Amplitube 5 is not my favorite amp sim. THU is definitely more realistic in its response as a guitar amp, and that is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in good sounds and response as an actual guitar amp, and THU does both of those things better than Amplitube 4, and while Amplitube 5 is closer, it still doesn't capture realistic dynamics and sounds the way that THU does, in my opinion, for my style of music. Like I said, I'm sure if you play high gain, even super clean with that rack style sound, you know, lots of effects, I'm sure this would do that great. I'm after that edge of breakup chewy goodness, right? So I'm going to play you guys one more sound. When I play the sounds, I'll kind of put up exactly what gear I'm using. You might notice you wouldn't expect some of the sounds that I'm going to get to come out of this guitar. I'll put a link to this video up in the cards. This is a Fender Texas Special single coil. I'm going to link two videos. The first one is the introduction of this guitar as a project guitar, where I ask for suggestions because I still haven't decided. Haven't gotten that many suggestions. If you have some wild and crazy suggestions on how this guitar could come out, feel free to leave them on that video. The other video that I'm gonna put a link to is showing you how to make a single coil, see the correct resistance without changing any pots or anything. It's a very useful video. I haven't found another one on YouTube. If you're having that issue, right, trying to mix single coils and humbuckers, and you notice it doesn't sound right, check out the video. I'll tell you how to fix it. That being said, I'll play one more sound on the way out from the new Amplitube 5. Thank you guys. Please join me again. Please hit like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Thanks, guys.